Welcome to High-End Client Acquisition Podcast. My name is Marian. I'm your host, and this show is here to teach you how to attract your dream clients on autopilot in 30 days or less. Each week, I bring you a guest or a strategy that can help you take your business to the next level. Don't forget, you can always get the episodes in your inbox or messenger at clientacquisitionpodcast.com. Joe, so first of all, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show, man. I've been a big fan of your podcast, you and Matt's podcast for, probably more than 2 years now, I guess. And I'm also a customer of yours because I purchased one of your courses in the past. So I'm super pumped to have you on the show and share with me, my audience, a lot of things, podcasting and monetizing from a podcast standpoint. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, Marian, thanks so much for having me. And we were just chatting how, you follow along really close, man. you're noticing some details that I even forgot about and like what we were doing and stuff. So I appreciate you listening to the show, being a customer, and obviously being on the show. This is going to be a good time.
100%, man. So a lot of my listeners are familiar with who you guys are and the podcast and the content. And also, to be honest, I really love the down-to-earth and also laid-back approach that you guys bring in this podcasting game. I think, everybody does their podcast in their own way, but you guys have a really special place, especially for the way I consume your show. So it's awesome to now get a sense of why you guys actually decided that podcast is a good use of time. Because I know you guys were doing a lot of affiliate marketing before, and you still do.
Yep.
But I want to get a sense of why you thought adding the podcasting component, it can really help you guys get more customers, increase the revenue of your business, and pretty much any other reasons why.
Yeah, there's a ton of reasons, and we're learning more and more the longer we do it. So our podcast, it's about 3 years old now, actually, I think in a month. So it's wild how fast the time goes, and it's called Hustle and Flowchart. And basically the reason we started the podcast, I'll do that actually first, or I'll tell you about that, is 3 years ago, we were selling a lot of courses. We were doing affiliate marketing and doing about $1 million per year in sales on just a handful of products, which is really cool.
Nice. And
we went deep, and we still go deep in affiliate marketing. We do it in an interesting way, but we noticed, most of our best content was behind a paywall. It was, we were charging some kind of money for a course. We had a big master class for content marketing that was like $1,000. And, these things sold well, but we felt like, Matt and I felt we were just holding back our best stuff, and most people weren't seeing it. And we really want to create an impact. Like we find joy when people say, hey, like this thing really worked, or like we learned this thing and, I grew my business, or, I saved time. I can travel around now and not work so hard with this new tool or something. So we said, all right, why don't we make a podcast? And, Matt and I, we talk a lot already about marketing strategies, and we test a bunch of different things, business models and marketing strategies. We figured, why don't we just share it on the podcast? And we happen to be very networked in the marketing and business space. So why don't we bring some friends on here, and then we just kind of share this with everyone who wants to listen. So we made a conscious effort to use the podcast as a content platform that we could put our absolute best stuff out to the world for free. And then, we already knew with content marketing that you can grow an audience, you can build an email list, you can retarget, on all sorts of different ways, Google, Facebook, and beyond. Grow a mini chat, messaging bot list. So we're like, okay, well, if we can grow a big old audience, essentially we're growing our platform, and we're growing all these different audience pools that we can then follow up with offers and whatever that might look like, mainly affiliate offers. We wanted to go deeper on that and then just give content away for free. So that was the big why behind the podcast, and not, go on YouTube. We weren't video guys. Like Matt and I could chat. We could chat all day. So we're like, well, shit, we can make content like crazy. So yeah. And then from there, we know how to monetize content, like I said, to grow an audience. And then we know how to follow up and with ads, retargeting, and obviously emails and things like that to sell something on the back end. And that's really what our podcast serves. And now 3 years in, thank God we started it, because I feel like not a lot of folks will put a big focus in on the podcast itself. It's kind of like a side project. It's not really like the main content play. And my God, it's like so easy to create the content. Yeah. And it's an amazing networking tool, obviously lead generation tool and all that stuff. But throughout this whole thing, you're building so much trust, and, people get an insane amount of value, not only your guests that are not only the people listening to the show, but even the guests that you bring on the show. It's like you can connect with almost anyone, and then you never know what those connections can turn up to, be like speaking events or partnerships, affiliate partners, opportunities to partner in general. It's so many cool things have developed from the podcast, and we can chat more about that if you want.
No, 100%, man, and I totally agree, because like I said, I've been consuming you and Matt's show for, I don't know, like I said, a little bit over 2 years, and now here you are. I have you on the podcast, and then Matt, I think, is gonna be also coming up in a couple weeks on the show as well. So nice. I mean, 100%. And I love how easy it is to create the content. But one thing that I meant to ask you is, all right, you guys decided. So you've been doing well prior to the podcast, right? Mm-hmm. So I guess in your case was the decision of adding another channel so you can pretty much serve more people that maybe were not reading blogs, or people that were not necessarily focused on, well, I guess you said you were not doing too many videos, but essentially you added another channel, right? Yeah. Did you have a proven model when you started and said, okay, I'm going to focus, 2 years on growing the downloads and just getting as many people as we can as guests? What was the strategy? Was it, all right, we're going to do an episode and then have a virtual assistant transform that into a blog article, and then so we can retarget keywords? Like, what was the kind of the tactical part of it? Yeah,
good call, man. Great question. And so Matt and I had a couple of podcasts. He actually had, I think we had 2 together, and he had 2, I think, separately as well. And they've all failed. Oh, wow. And we know why. I mean, Matt had one that kind of morphed into our show. It was called something completely different. But it wasn't the same structure, it was a different format and stuff. But the reason it failed is we didn't have systems. We didn't have a plan, really. Like you said, we didn't have a good structure around things and a purpose for the podcast. It was more of a side thing. It wasn't actually like, hey, this is where we cultivate this audience that we can, give value, but also build this relationship. And that was the thing that we knew we really wanted to do with the show. Part of the issue is we saw a lot of our courses, and we had a physical newsletter at the time. We actually brought it back since then, but at the time it just seemed like it was difficult to sell into these information products, and we needed to shake it up. So we knew what worked, but we were just hitting kind of like the ceiling with our audience. And always done a lot of paid traffic and SEO and all that stuff, and that it worked. But at the same time, like, we really wanted to grow a relationship, because we knew from previous podcasts, which failed, and that failed basically because we weren't consistent with our content. That's pretty much why they failed, if you were wondering.
Exactly. That was my next question, actually.
Yeah. We did not have a good process for, scheduling recording times. Now we batch record. So we try to record everything in 2 days a month. It started off at just 1 day a month, which was nice because it was a weekly show, but now it's a twice a week show. So we had to bump up the time. And then now, of course, we have a system and teams behind that helps us do everything else. We just show up and record, and that's it. Now it's working great. Yeah. But going back really quick to your question about the model is, we knew that if we built this audience with the podcast, we knew that podcasts, they weren't like the main thing back then. Now it's like in the public knowledge everywhere. It was something where we knew if we can build a relationship and we already know how to convert people into a lead so we can follow up, and retargeting, we're already doing that on the blog. So we're like, okay, if we just publish this on our blog, our website at Evergreen Profits, that's going to be like our hub right there. And we know what to do with them once we got their attention, and we just needed to get attention. And that's where the podcast came through.
Got it. So now I'm going to go a little tactical because I know you guys love this. Is it every single episode going on the blog as well? Like every single episode is getting transcribed into a blog article and then published as an article and then retarget people based on that? Are you actually doing that with every single episode?
So what we do, I'll outline our process. So we actually don't transcribe, but we do something slightly different. But yeah, every single episode does go on our website. And so, you go to evergreenprofits.com. That has everything that every show episode is on there. Obviously other stuff is too, but that's where our podcasts live. But of course, it's on all the other channels. But we made a conscious decision that we're going to grow our podcast through our own means, like our marketing know-how and connections and stuff. Mm-hmm. So that's why we make an emphasis to always put it on our website and not rely on iTunes, Spotify to grow our show, because you don't really have control over there. So it's nice to have, but you don't want to play that game and not have a lack of that control. But going back to the actual show notes pages, so what we see in show notes are basically, it's where the episode's embedded, and it has all the text and links and stuff, resources in there. We deck them out in like a unique way. So if you go there, you can almost see like a mini sales page for each episode. And like there's of course like the intro of like, here's like a big brief of who the person is, but then all the bullet points are very intriguing based. They're open loops. They're just trying to get someone to hit the play button and take an action. And then, of course, we have different quotable things, different resources, affiliate links and things on that page, and then a ton of lead capture options for people to join the list. And so the idea there is most podcasters just don't think about that part of actually decking out like, hey, now there needs to be a written kind of form. Transcripts are cool, but let's be honest, like most people don't read transcripts. They're kind of ugly. They take a lot of work. You can get transcripts done cheap, with AI, you can get that done free, but it's not going to be perfect. Even if you go to Rev, they'll look good, but then you got to format it and do all this crazy stuff. So what we do is we actually have a note taker on every single one of our episodes that listens to our recording, like a couple days after we're done. We'll Dropbox it and send it to her. And she literally takes notes on the episode. So each hour-long episode turns into like 4 pages of notes. And that becomes our free offer. So on the show notes pages on our website, all the little slide-in offers, the pop-ups and things like that, that's all pushing the notes for that episode. And that's what people opt in for. And then from there, of course, we have an upsell to our physical newsletter, which is basically a monthly, physical newsletter we send in the mail all around the world that has all of the notes from the previous month. So there's actually like 8 episodes of notes all compiled together. With some more insights and things like that from us as well.
I love that. Actually, I'm a subscriber to that too.
All right, nice, man. That's awesome. So yeah, you're seeing the full spectrum there then, from podcast to physical. Yeah,
I was about to ask you how, because I'm obviously, I see the front end of it. Like I'm getting the show notes, the printed version of it. Mm-hmm. How is it from a process? Like, did it get to the point where it's profitable now? Because I know, it takes a little more work. It's not just an online PDF that I can download. Somebody has to actually put them all together and then print them out and then ship them. Is it more, I'm asking from a strategy standpoint, is it already profitable, or is it used to be able to get more people into the higher end courses and info products and things like that?
It's actually both. And yes, it is profitable, and it got profitable almost immediately just because we already had the audience on there on the podcast. And of course, our email list as well, that helped. But yeah, so our costs on it surprisingly aren't that bad. They're I think for each subscriber, our cost is roughly $4 to $5, and that's printed and shipped all around the world. And, we're charging, say it again?
Internationally too, like even if you ship them internationally?
Mm-hmm. That's an average. So that's across the board. Yeah, international is a little bit more, but US, it'll be cheaper here. But we have a print house that does all the printing for us. They do the shipping as well, and they just kind of handle everything. We just send them a PDF at the beginning of the month.
Nice.
So,
can you shout them out?
Yeah. Let me. It's actually oh my god, it's.
If not, we'll put them in the show notes. It's fine if we don't have them.
Yeah, I don't have it right now because we actually I think it's McManus actually is who we're using now. Yeah, we switched from another company, so we're using McManus.
All right, no problem. We'll put their link in the show notes.
Cool. Yeah, a lot of there's actually a ton of marketers that use them for other purposes. I don't think anyone's doing it for a podcast, but anyone can swipe it. So, nice. But yeah, so it is profitable, and we only charge $15 a month, so it's a very low continuity. And the cool thing is we're adding about 3 people per day now to it. It wasn't always that quick of growth, and of course we're trying to grow it more, but this is consistent, literally daily growth. And our vision behind the letter is it's an extension of our podcast. It's an ability to bring in some monthly recurring revenue, of course. And it's now we're taking the attention offline where no one is really in the in the mailbox in front of your house. They're dealing with Facebook ads and emails and all that stuff, which we're there too. But you're talking about omnipresence. You hear that term thrown around. Well, we're omnipresent, in your physical form too. Yep. Sending you stuff on a monthly basis or more. We'll send random other things too. So that the letter serves as a purpose to increase loyalty. It increases sales, like you said, for our courses and mainly affiliate courses. Our affiliate software mainly is what we promote, not really courses. And then the other thing is sponsorships. A ton of people will sponsor our show, but in that sponsorship package, we also add in the ability to have an insert in our newsletter for a fee as well. And so it's kind of like it's just an extension of our platform, and we happen to monetize it because we have some costs, but and it's super high value. So the stick rate, like people stick for a very long time. The churn rate's very low, which is really cool. Got it.
No, that's a really interesting model. I don't think, like you said, I know anybody that does that with their show. So yeah, that's super interesting. So what I'm curious to find out, and I think a lot of people would, is because I know you said you can promote different products to your show, or does someone promote their own podcast with?
What do you mean by that? I'm just so I can answer.
So, for example, if somebody wants to sponsor you guys' show with their own podcast, is that what you mean when you say sponsors, or different products or affiliate products that can sponsor the show, or both? It's actually both. Yeah. So we've had we have had podcasts on there, and that's a great strategy to grow a podcast. If anyone's looking to do it, is you got to think our podcast listeners just listen to more podcasts. So you might as well, keep them on the same channel. So yeah, that's been very successful for the sponsors we've had on that are podcasts. But then we mainly for I would say the majority of the sponsors are software companies, people with tools and things that align with our audience, like Ahrefs, for instance. There's big SEO tool. Mm-hmm. They've sponsored something like 4 months or something, and they love it. Yeah, and people love it too. So we kind of make these sponsored ads not feel salesy. Like we try to make them blend into our style of the podcast, and that way people can actually listen, or will listen to them and not just skip over. So it's been good. Got it. Now, as you mentioned something really, really interesting over there, I was about to ask you what type of strategies you guys use, especially from a paid advertising point, to promote the show, because I know you said you did it through Google AdWords, if I'm not wrong. Mm-hmm. I know you've tested some Facebook ads, but then you also said the best way to do it is to try to promote another show. Which one of these you guys actually did it, and which one worked the best? Oh man, yeah, that's a great question. And we're crazy people, and we always just try to do everything. We just nerd out on marketing, so we're constantly testing, and so we do a good blend of paid traffic and organic and kind of networking traffic, I guess you want to say. Mm-hmm. Matt, my partner Matt, is a total genius when it comes to paid traffic. That's where he loves to operate.
that's not my forte. I know like the overview of it, but like I'll recommend, Marian, when Matt's on the show, ask him about page traffic.
You got it.
He'll freaking nerd out, man. He'll give you all the cool strategies. But yeah, so on paid, we're always having Facebook retargeting ads. We'll always, and the beauty of that, everyone should be running retargeting of some sort. Mainly on Facebook is, anyone that lands on the show notes page on our website, they're always going to get retargeted, typically with, an option to join our email list. And what we're trying to do is pair up, the page or the topic they landed on and show them in an ad that's relevant. We're always trying to keep the consistent, relevancy throughout their whole journey. So retargeting is great because that gets people back to the show. Not only does it help grow the show, but we're trying to get them on the email list at that point so we can follow up. In terms of, and there's a lot of other paid stuff. We'll do something called $1 a day ads. That's a Dennis Yu strategy. Mm-hmm. And so what we'll do is target people like digital marketers audience or James Altucher. We've had those guys on the show and a ton of other folk. We'll basically run these $1 a day ads to their audiences on Facebook. And, it's just a constant thing where literally we're only spending $1 per each targeted audience. And it's a great way to just get it's just showing our banner, our podcast, and also the person they're interested in pretty much every single day. We're always showing that, serving those ads to those folks. So that gives us a nice consistent flow of new people into the show, and then grows our list pretty quickly too.
Got it. Just to pause you for a second there.
Yeah.
You sending all that traffic straight to the episode like on iTunes, or you actually send it to the website?
We send it to the website.
To the website. Okay. And then okay.
And again, that just goes back to like, we want control. Yep. We want to be able to do that. We will send people to iTunes and all that stuff. Typically after, like that might be a retargeting thing we actually made a custom page where depending on their device, it'll basically like give them the link that's most appropriate. So if like they're on an iPhone, we'll send them to, iTunes. If they're on Google or something like an Android or whatever, they're going to Spotify. So that's a little trickery that Matt hacked up together. But yeah, growing the show. So like podcast guesting, absolutely amazing. So what I'm doing here is a great way to just, it's a great way to extend, our reach or your reach if you go on other people's podcasts to talk to a new audience that never knew you before. And like I said, podcast listeners listen to more podcasts typically. So podcast guesting is great. It's warm traffic and helps you generate leads as well. Repurposing content is massive. So we actually use a really cool service called Repurpose House that they have just a killer service that actually like gives us a new video almost daily, which is really cool. And that allows us to, it's like a 2-minute clip or something from a big long episode, and they make it look all pretty. Looks great. And but we're noticing, man, like we're starting to get a lot more attention on Instagram, Facebook. This gives us, opportunities to post more and run ads. LinkedIn, like we try to post things on all these different social channels because we know if you're consistent with that, like the traffic definitely works. And a lot of these platforms like LinkedIn, they love video right now. So it's almost like a ton of free traffic you can get with relevant audiences.
100%.
And yeah. There's a ton of other things, but those are like the consistent things and of course we're always emailing our list, posting on social, getting guests to share as well. That's kind of like the constant stuff that we have going.
Got it. No, that's definitely a lot of things that you just shared with me right there. What I'm trying to understand now, and I think pretty much a lot of people that will be listening, they'll be wondering this, out of the affiliate marketing offers versus your own info products versus sponsorships, where do you see you guys focus the most? Like, is it like, for example, the affiliate offers would generate more revenue for you guys, therefore you just focus your attention more over there? Or are you still building new courses and new info products that you're planning to sell? I'm just trying to understand, like, how are you accepting sponsorships versus promoting your own products? And I know, you can go back and lip sync and change, things like that. But I was just trying to understand, like, what's the strategy there?
Mm-hmm. No, that's an awesome question because it's like I feel like our company is not obvious on how we make our money. And I feel like it's been like that for a long time and even more so now. So we actually this year, we realized towards the end of last year. We were doing way too much. And that's the thing, like whenever a show or something gets more popular or we're starting to get more connected to high up folks, new opportunities just come every single day, it seems like, or new, people that we're introduced to. And, Matt and I are too damn nice and we say yes too much. And, which is, that's what got us here. So it's a good thing. But at the same time, we realized that we've started doing too much and like splintered our focus too wide. So that's, we created a podcast training course and, started consulting people, did a little bit of agency work. All this stuff is not our business model. Typically, like that's not what we really decided to do, like in beginning of 2019 and before that. Matt and I are affiliate marketers. We're relationship people, guys. So like, we're connectors. We'll connect people to a resource or a partner, or we'll help people as a rev share, to grow something they're doing, usually with monetizing their content, getting it to convert. So we realized like we started to get away from that. And so this year we're basically what we decided to do is slowly phase out all of our online courses, the info products, double down on our podcast because that's working and that's growing our platform as a whole. And, our value is that we know how to create content really well and we know to convert that content into some kind of conversion thing. So affiliate marketing, like with software tools, marketing tools and things like that, that's our bread and butter. That makes up for about like 80% of our revenue. And yeah, we're like, why the hell did we take our focus off of that? So that was our big aha is, we have so many systems and automations and ways to grow, content around companies that we want to make them more money. And a lot of these companies, they're really good at creating software and delivering a solution, but maybe they're not the best at content, or maybe they're not the best at ads and they're not on podcasts. So like, that's where we like to operate is like, all right, how do we get in front of the target audience in the right way, grow a relationship, get them on a list, follow up, run ads, and then convert. So we can grow not only our own platform, but we're growing these companies that we really like. And we use all the stuff that we promote as well. So it's not like we're just, we're not hawking like hundreds of products. We only have like 10 products we actually promote. We just go really deep on them. So yeah, I mean, that's in working with very select podcasters and influencers on growing their own platform, like working on podcasts and, kind of operating on the back end, helping them monetize those things better and tying it to their business. And we're just getting rev shares from that, basically.
Got it. No, that makes perfect sense. When you say, the 80% you said is coming from affiliate marketing, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, have you guys went only after sponsors from those affiliate marketing offers? Meaning, if you were seeing that Ahrefs affiliate offer worked the best, have you tried to get them as sponsors? Is that did I understand that well?
Yeah, so it's interesting with the sponsors. That was an idea. So that's we don't really typically promote the affiliate stuff on the podcast. Like we'll name tools and things that we love, and that comes out more naturally than like an ad, for instance. The sponsorship, yeah, we did think about, we're like, oh, maybe what if we just actually, started doing that on the show? And we did it a little bit, but then that's when, ironically enough, we're like, oh, wait, hold on. We have enough audience here that we can demand some sponsorship money, but like, what if we just did affiliate marketing? And I think we tried it a little bit and, kind of did like a mock sponsorship is what we called it. And we promoted some things for about maybe a month or two. But then ironically, once we did that, sponsors started reaching out to us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I don't know if that was like, hey, these guys already have sponsors. Okay. So my company would probably be a good fit. Let's see what they charge, And so, yeah, we were doing mock sponsorships for a while. We stopped that because we have enough sponsors now. And so, yeah, I mean, that's really what it is. And Ahrefs, like they actually don't even have an affiliate program. We tried to do stuff like that. But then, ironically, they reached out. They were one of our first sponsors, and they're like, "Hey, we want like 2 months worth." Okay, cool. That's like it's found money really, because before we were not making money there, and now, each one is it nets us about $3,000 or so per month, and that is growing. That's just based off of, just kind of like the platform as it is now. And so it's like, it's kind of nice to just, all we got to do is voice out, some 30-second spots, and it's no harm off our back. And they're getting the benefit of being the branding, getting the branding and getting new customers. So it's like a good win-win. If you can mix in sponsorships with the podcast, you don't need a ton of people to make it worth it for a sponsor.
To get a decent monthly income from it. No, sure. I love that. And so if you guys would have to start all over again, let's assume your email list is small. Let's assume you had some people that purchased some affiliate offers from you guys before, but if you would have to start over with little to no audience, what would you say it's a good strategy for somebody launching the podcast to attract sponsors? Would you tell them, hey, focus first at growing the show at, I don't know, and maybe that's my next question, a right number of downloads per month? Is it $1,000? Is it $10,000 a month that you can start reaching out to sponsors? And how would you do it?
Yeah, I can give you some ideas, and because we've coached a few people through this, is starting from scratch. What we would do is 100% leverage the network that you already have. So those are the friends, the colleagues, the peers, everyone that's kind of in your space that knows, they trust you, they like you. They're willing to, spread the word and help you grow that show from day one. That's how we did it. And we leveraged our email list as well. So, if you have some audience like that you can tap into, even if it's a Facebook group, retargeting list, mini chat, messenger bot stuff, basically do like an audit of what audiences do I more or less can control or influence to help me spread my word. And that can kick things off almost immediately for you. Of course, you got to have good content or good value you're spreading to the world. Another thing is bring your friends, your peers, onto your show. So have them become your first guest. That's what we did as well. And luckily, we knew some really, really savvy marketers and people with audiences. And so we kind of knew they would share this with their audiences. They would post it on Facebook. They would get all excited about it for us. And they did. Not everyone shares and does that, but the majority will. I would say it's like maybe 70% or so. And so that's going to get you your first downloads. That's going to grow your audience now. And if you just kind of stay in that vein, you can compile a good amount of downloads just within your own network without trying to do too much, do all paid ads and all these crazy things. But really just do good by your network, give good value, and then ask for referrals for new guests that they would recommend to be on your show. And that's where things get fun. That's where you start connecting with people outside of your network. And as long as you're giving value to them, then, they're going to spread the message for you as well. It becomes this viral thing that you're creating, the snowball effect. So really that was our strategy in the first year. And, we would just really always let the email list know when new episodes go live and give them a reason to go listen. And of course, share it and rate and review. And we did little contests. So giving away things like Bose headphones, on Facebook, we'll run things occasionally for getting subscription or to get people to subscribe to iTunes or whatever other platform. That costs us, whatever the cost of those Bose headphones are. Let's call it couple $100 or whatever. And, in doing that, we're now going to start jumping the ranks in iTunes and Spotify and things. So it's attracting even more people. And so over and over, if you keep doing just those handful of things, you'll grow to a point where sponsorships now can become a thing. And we know people that have had sponsors actually, that my wife included, actually, she's doing this right now, is she just launched a show, for instance. She's only 6 episodes in, but she's already talking to 4 sponsors that are very interested in sponsoring her show.
Oh, wow.
And these are big companies. And
what industry is she in?
she's in the wedding planning space, so it's a little different. It's not marketing.
No, the reason I asked you is because my wife, I'm actually helping her put together her show. She's doing lash extensions in the beauty space.
Perfect.
So the reason that I asked you is I had a funny feeling that the industries will be connected. But yeah. So that's great. And how was she reaching out to those companies, or did they approach her?
So no, she's reaching out to them. So it's
got it.
That's what's really cool is she had some people in her network. She did a live summit, or a virtual summit that is last year. So she had some contacts she drummed up that way, because let's be honest, like prior to this, she did not have she didn't have industry contacts. She kind of like brute forced her way in there. And in a nice way, like she came with the marketing brain. Her and I think very similarly, but a lot of those folks have no clue about marketing. So that's where she came in as like to them, they're like, oh my God, how do you know how to grow an email list and run ads and da-da-da? Yeah. And same with the lash business for your wife, I'm sure probably a similar case is, typically it's like influencers and they don't know marketing. So what she did, she paired up with them, leveraged their networks a bit, but then started just cold outreaching to some of these industry companies, because most likely they've probably never done podcast sponsorships, but they've like thought about it. And so if you could pair a podcast up with some businesses and like start to identify what are some companies that, that share the same audience that I have, and just start doing some homework and quickly identify probably 30, 40, maybe 50 companies to target, and then figure out, okay, so what's my pitch to these folks? And what we do is we actually have like a sponsorship package that has some different tiers, but we're showing how it's not just podcast sponsorships, but you get a spot on the podcast, you get an email, mentions in there in our weekly newsletter, and sometimes even in the PS as if it's like a higher level. And you're getting mentions in the physical newsletter as well that we send out in the mail. You're going to be on our blog with banner rotations, so you're going to be seen there. So the idea there is like you're not just getting one thing; you're getting a full spread of the whole platform, and that's pretty much what
omnipresence.
Yeah, and that's what my wife's doing as well. And the key thing there is not to go for CPM rates, and that's the cost per thousand, because that's the industry standard with podcasts. Is you typically, whenever you sell ads, the industry standard is something like $25 per CPM. So for 1,000 plays, you're only going to make $25.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's not sustainable for most podcasters unless you're, up really high. So we made a conscious effort, and this is what my wife's doing as well, is put a flat rate on what your package is. So identify what your packages are for sponsors and build immense value. Obviously, you still want to give them way more value than they're paying for. But the idea there is like you're actually going to get paid what you're worth, and also it's like worth your time to even like do this ad. To be honest, like why even bring a sponsor if you're only going to make $20-$50 a month or so if you're just starting out. So that's how I would do it, and you'd be surprised with just cold outreach to some of these companies. I think right now a lot of companies are begging for new outlets, new ways to advertise their companies to a super relevant audience and one that's really engaged, which is exactly what podcasts are right now. People are just highly engaged. Stick with it. They actually do what the podcast host tells them to do typically, as long as there's a good relationship and good content there. I think you can definitely pre-sponsor your show, or at least do it in the early couple months or so without even that many downloads, as long as you're building in the value to the person that sponsors the show.
No, I love that. And I love the fact that you mentioned like, hey, don't just focus like, okay, if your show it's in the beginning level, you can bundle it up. And at the end of the day, right, like you're creating an offer, like, hey, you're not just getting the podcast exposure, you're also getting on my email list, subscriber kind of exposure type, you also get on my blog. So that's awesome. So Joe, I mean, this was awesome. You gave some really powerful stuff. Now, what I like to do with every single guest is if you would be able to give people 2 action tasks, 2 things to do, 1 thing that they can do right after they listen to the show, and then 1 that they can implement for the next 6 months to a year. If let's assume somebody wants to start making money with affiliate marketing, right? Because I know we focused a lot on the podcasting part, but also the monetizing structure. I think you can really get some great insights for somebody. Let's assume somebody wants to become an affiliate marketer for pretty much any tool. Doesn't matter if it's Ahrefs, if it's ClickFunnels, vidIQ, whatever it is. What would you recommend them? And, if that blends into the podcasting game, cool. If not, that's totally cool as well.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And so that's, so I would say right now, the best thing to do, and this is exactly, let's start with that, is for affiliate marketing. And this is exactly what we did when starting out is look at the tools that you just love right now, love to use personally. And, you find value in this specific tool. That's a good indication that, this thing means a lot. You can actually get behind it in a true way and create some content around it, build value to someone else. And it's even better if you can figure out how to grow a relationship with the owner of that tool or that product, whatever it might be. So if you could pair up like your experience, but also if you have a relationship there, even if it's just a very light one that you reach out cold, but then you're just kind of cool and you're sharing their stuff and you're just saying, hey, I love your stuff. I want to, you're just kind of the cool guy. It's going to get you a lot better. It's going to give you some favors, basically. Like sometimes you might get a special landing page or you might get a higher commission. Like there was one time we had one of the tools, the guys on our show, which if you have a podcast, that's a perfect way to, to get in and grow that relationship, by the way. So I think his affiliate commission was something like 20%. And it was like a really low ticket offer. And we're like, it's not super worth it, man. Like for us to do this. And then he's like, okay, well, how about I just turn it to a 70% commission for you? I'm like, what?
Damn.
Okay. Like we're in. So that wasn't much of a negotiation, but that worked. And that was with barely a relationship. I think that was right after we had him on the podcast. And sure enough, I think we even got a free access lifetime legacy account to the tool too. It's like $200 a month normally. So it's just relationship and identifying the things that you really want to get behind and promote and truly think that it's going to serve your audience. That's what I would start with right now. And just create some content around it. It could be blog posts, videos, podcasts, whatever kind of content just flows from you naturally. Focus there and just don't try to complicate it. And if you have an email list or, a network that you kind of, even if it's just Facebook, start showing this tool off and like actually be excited about it. I keep saying tool, but like, it could be a product too, or an info product, doesn't matter. Of course. So, but the key thing is just get excited behind it and then use the resources you have. And then, so that's what I would do right now. If 6 to 12 months later, what I would do is start figuring out, add a couple more tools, and there are a couple more affiliate promotions. That is things to get behind. Maybe 2 more. I wouldn't go too deep on a lot. Don't go too wide. That's the key, is like you want to really figure out what works, what you love, and then go deep on that thing. So I would say add a couple more, but then start to layer in a little bit more content, but definitely more traffic sources. So maybe that's distributing your content on different platforms, like, the different social media networks. Even go to Quora, start answering some questions and, are related around that topic or around that tool, and then build value there. Go to Medium. You can start like repurposing your content on slideshare.com. We're big on trying to get on other platforms to extend our reach. So
got it.
That would be like the organic side. And then of course, if you're savvy with some paid traffic, try some retargeting, try some $1-a-day ads, layer some things that aren't going to overwhelm you, but that slowly build on this thing that's working for you. That's what I would do in the later stages.
Got it. So let me just simplify for everybody in case they got some lost into the flow of info. So somebody that's just starting out, if they want to implement it right now, at least make a list of the tools that they use in their business, and then decide on at least one of them, and then they can go and either create a video, create a blog, whatever the content platform that they prefer. So that can be done like right at the end of this episode, and then 6 months down the road to at least add a couple. So when you said add a couple more tools, but don't go out of the kind of niche. So for example, if you focus on a landing page builder, don't go next to promote a podcasting product. Just try to keep it close to that.
You could. It should be relevant. It'd be nice if you kept them kind of relevant, or at least tied them together somehow, because it's just going to be easier to cross sell.
Yeah, got it.
But yeah, keep them kind of similar, but they don't have to be totally perfect, perfectly similar.
Got it. Okay, perfect. And then add some traffic sources, both organic and paid at the end. Awesome, man. Well, you gave some really tactical and strategic stuff here, so we really appreciate that. If people want to check you guys out, where would you recommend them to go?
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. And that's so something we have is we actually have a little people love this thing, and it's just we just updated it for 2020 is we have this traffic playbook. And so anyone that's interested, and this is great for growing podcasts, it's great for growing blogs, YouTube channels, affiliate promotions. It's a totally free book. And if you just go to, what is it? What's a good one? I'm just trying to think. hustleandflowchart.com/Marian. So I'll just use your first name there.
Oh, wow. We're doing one for awesome.
Let's do it, man. Yeah. So hustleandflowchart.com/Marian, Marian. That'll basically get you that free traffic book. So you'll check that out. And that thing is, I think it's like 200 pages or something. It's kind of ridiculous. It's not just like some slap together ebook. So it's it's got like crazy tactics around how we're growing things, a lot of paid and organic traffic, and then other experts too featured in there. So it's kind of like our traffic Bible. So it's a good one.
Awesome. No, and I went through it right before I bought the course, I think, but no, I love it. So we'll make sure we'll link them up in the show notes below. And if anyone wants to get in touch with you directly, do you have a favorite platform that you use? Is it LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, anywhere in particular?
I would say Facebook's good. I'm getting better at checking my messages. So yeah, find me, look my name up, Joe Fier, Fier on Facebook, and connect there. I'm pretty good at responding, and check the podcast out, Hustle and Flowchart, if you got some extra time listening to shows after Marian's. So yeah, that's it. I think that'd be great, and I'd love to connect.
Awesome. Yeah, and I'll make sure we'll link up all the resources, everything that was shared on the show in the show notes below, so you guys can have it. And of course, the Hustle and Flowchart podcast, it's super cool. Like I said, I've been listening for more than 2 years now. So Joe, again, really appreciate it, man. It was awesome, and looking forward to probably seeing you guys in person at Podfest.
Nice, man. Can't wait, man. Thanks for having me on here.
100%, man. See you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Hey, podcast listeners. I want you to know that I really appreciate your attention, and I don't take it lightly. That's why each month we pick a lucky winner and we give away books, mentorship, software, courses, iPads, and other cool stuff. The way to enter is go to clientacquisitionpodcast.com and sign up. You'll get all the details there. Talk to you guys soon. Take care.